sort of explain sort of where your head is at with your situation and kind of how you plan to proceed from here?
Yeah. Just to like the fans, man, it's like just appreciate the support and love, and you know, what I mean, it's just definitely just a difficult time, but for me, it's just trusting, you know, people that you've known over a decade, and you know, when I got traded here, my whole thing was I wanted to retire a Sixer. You know what I mean? I wanted to retire a Sixer, and the front office didn't have that in their future plans. You know what I mean? So, like, it's literally out of my control. It's something that I didn't want to happen in the system being in this position. But, you know, I got to make a decision for, you know, my family. I understand this is a business, you know what I mean? So it's just as simple as that, you know what I mean? I come here today and work my butt off and do the things necessary as a professional as I would do and as I've been doing for 15 years.
So I am happy that James Harden at the very least showed up to training camp even through all of this. You know what I'm saying? He didn't hold out. He still showed up to work. He has an obligation contractually to play for this team. So, you know, I'll give him credit on that. I do want more context to the timeline of the situation. So from my understanding, James Harden was expecting a contract extension and just didn't get it. There was like a wink-wink deal of like, okay, we'll trade for James Harden. This is the 76ers. We'll trade for James Harden, and then we'll re-sign you for a long-term contract. But it seemed like he never got that, and now here we are, and James Harden feels betrayed. Or maybe there was a trade request. I don't know.
I think James has to be careful because
He at that point now. We're here.
The NBA doesn't need him.
We're here.
The NBA doesn't need him no more. So the way, and I'm all for player empowerment. All of us are for player empowerment, but he forced his way out of Houston, forced his way out of Brooklyn. Now he's trying to force his way out of Philly. Like, at some point, everyone's going to be like, and he's got so much talent and a lot of game left, could talk himself out of the league with his talent, which is crazy to think.
Remember when Melo said he wasn't coming off the bench?
They blackballed him for how many years?
Y'all remember this? About 2 years? He had to go to Portland on like some fucking bullshit. Man, listen, man, where he...
Did they blackball Melo? Did they blackball Melo? I don't know about blackball, dog. I ain't gonna lie. You know what happened? He was ass in New York. I don't know. Age caught up to Melo. He got traded to OKC. He played like shit in OKC. And then I think he went to Houston and played like ass in Houston. And then he went to Portland and had a resurgent year in Portland. And then he went to the Lakers. That's cap right there. That's cap.
When Melo went to Portland, I thought that was the biggest bullshit of the league. Mm-hmm. But it was also the league speaking to Melo.
Humble yourself.
Like straight up. And that humbled him too, bro. Straight up. This is what they finna do to James Harden, or at least
was it? I strongly disagree. I ain't gonna lie. I think Melo, like a lot of all-time greats, and I think this is the fault of a lot of vets in the league that we want to talk about, DeMarcus Cousins, he can still play in the league. Some of these players are just built to be number one options. Some of these players are built to be number two options at best. But when you ask them to be a number 3, a number 4, a number 5, they just don't perform. There are better 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options in the league. But to best utilize you got to be that number 1. And I think for Melo, that was the case. I think by the time he went to OKC, Melo was in a situation where his skill set is still best used as the number 1 option on the team. However, if you had Melo as your number 1 option on your team, you ain't doing shit. You're not making the playoffs. You're not making a deep playoff run. Hell, you might not even be a playing team. But to best utilize him, you got to be a first option. But let's keep the clip going, though.
Feels like I told Peters, I think that a couple times when you wiggle your way out, bro, you only got about, 1 or 2 wiggles? You ain't got no infinite Bro,
especially when you get older.
That's what I'm trying to
Infinite
tell you.
wiggles.
When you
I
get
think
older,
Harden's in that situation
they
as
put
well.
up with-
I think Harden's in that
You
situation.
young and
as
you
well.
hot,
Yeah,
they
they
put
put
up
up
with
with
your
everything.
shit.
You're gonna let you
When
rock.
you old
Oh, they
and
like,
and
shit,
one foot out the
all
door, it's like, all right, keep acting like
They'll
that.
get a younger
We
player
gonna
for a
be-
lot less. And
We can
I feel
deal
like
with-
we all feel like he has so much game left. You know, he's not the player he was, but he's still that 19 and 10 type guy, so he can still play. So my thing with him is he just has to be careful. As good as he is, the way he's been wiggling, like KG said, you only get so many wiggles. You know what I mean?
He ain't got that many step backs left.
How did he show up to Philly? Right. Tell me y'all's situation showing up to Philly. What's James Harden showing up to Philly camp? What's the expectation level?
I'm not buying it because you and Maury was buddy all these years. Now y'all beefing because they don't want it. Like, I ain't buying it. He gonna go there and be friends again. They gonna go there and be friends again and try to make it work, but it ain't gonna work.
He gonna kiss and make up?
Bro, it ain't gonna work. What else they
Yo,
gonna
KG
do?
funny
I
as
think he
fuck.
might say his back hurt. I think he don't. I think he all the way on that.
That's the
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, in case y'all don't
I think he
know,
on
that's
that.
the vet mood of sitting out.
You can't-
They can't
Pete.
examine the back. When
Say
you
it,
want to
Pete.
sit,
Examine that
everybody
back.
know this, and y'all know this. If you want to sit
Absolutely.
out and be on the IR, and you had a problem, you say your back.
More evidence that those new rules that the NBA implemented, the participation shit, that shit ain't gonna change nothing. Yo, Chad, I'm telling y'all right now, that shit is not gonna change a lick of shit, bro. Like literally, the only thing that would actually enforce that shit would for every single team to have like a third party. Jesus Christ! For every single team to have a third party physician that'll make sure that these injuries are actually real. It's the only way that shit's gonna work. That's the only way, bro.
Back hurt
yep.
because
Too
it's
many
hard to
muscles.
evaluate the back.
Too many muscles.
Yeah, hey, he using that.
What part of the back? The lower back.
The lower, it's just hurting. What you gonna say to somebody
It's
saying
tight.
that?
It's tight.
And
That's a vet move.
y'all remember the Houston James Harden, how he came in?
Plus 20.
He was super big. He was super plus 30 or 20 or whatever he was.
That's
Was that
Hercules
actually
wanna do it to
real?
Is this what
Chat, was that actually real though? The fat suit shit, or like him showing up to training camp like crazy out of shape. I sort of guy, like I understand that's the running joke, but I swear it was just like a bad angle type shit, and literally the next day he looked normal.
Is
That
this
shit's
what
so
we
good.
expecting? Is this what we expecting?
I don't like it because I just feel like he has so much game. You know what I mean? So I would love to see him just go out there and play basketball. But he did take less. You know what I mean? I don't think we're talking about the part where we're holding management accountable either, because a lot
That
of
shit was
motherfuckers
fake.
pull the shit
He
in
has like
management.
44 or
and
some
James
shit,
took
yeah.
less for them to move their shit around, and he was promised something was going to happen. So naturally, I get he's going to be mad, but you can't forget about the Houston wiggle out, the Brooklyn wiggle out, and now Philly may be playing you wrong, but you still trying to wiggle out of that. So at the end of the day, not everyone is understanding how executives move. So the outside look perspective is this guy's just full of shit right now.
Nobody want to see him play basketball. We want to see him win. You know what I'm saying? Like, we tired of just seeing him dribble. Like, we want to see you win, bro. Prove us that you can win.
His
That's
game-
what we at with James.
his
We
game-
know you're nice.
His game ain't giving me that championship type vibe, no way. When he passed the ball, he stay right there in one place. Like, he ain't going to screen or fluff for nobody. He ain't cutting. He ain't throwing the ball in the post, cutting hard. He just passed the ball and
MF,
sit there.
I know,
That don't
bro.
give me
We
championship
doing that.
basketball.
We
Just
doing
to be
about it on the
honest,
back
you
end.
see how he been closing out his last, 4-5 years.
Yeah.
It looked like he just been quitting.
It's been nasty.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he had a 40-point game against the Celtics, but when you got
After
that
that,
type,
though.
when you got that type of momentum, you supposed to keep that going, despite who the man.
He
You
disappeared.
feel me? And he disappeared. So I'm not surprised that they didn't make no moves with him. I'm thinking he need to come back and really show them that I'm that dude.
What's the market for him? I mean, to your point, who wants to take that kind of
H-Town
situation
want
in?
it.
It's literally at this point just the Clippers, dog. I ain't gonna lie. It's literally just the Clippers at this point. I think with James Harden, like what they're talking about, bro, I think you only have so many wiggles until, I don't know about blackball, but until like you get this notion of being a locker room cancer. And I ain't gonna lie, I feel like after 2 wiggles, you trying to wiggle out a third time? I'm sitting here like, okay, at this point, maybe you have to look in the mirror at the very least. You know what I'm saying? Are you the problem? Are you the reason why you're not getting these contract extensions? Are you the reason why these teams aren't winning? like what everyone has been saying, I am for player empowerment. I am for player empowerment. But I still feel like there's lines that it looks bad when you cross them. It looks bad when you cross them. When you sign on a dotted line, I still feel like contracts still need to matter. I still feel like contracts need to matter. And for these players to essentially use their leverage in a way to finagle their way out of certain contracts.
This is my official request for the NBA to blackball
Oh, wow.
TF out of James Harden.
Oh, wow.
On some Kaepernick type shit. Make an example out of him.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. These stars, they're just abusing the fuck out the system in terms of sitting out games. They make so much money that $50,000 fines don't mean shit to them because they have $100 million contracts. Contracts need to matter. Contracts need to fucking matter. Commitments need to matter because at the end of the day, it is a two-way street. It is a two-way street. And even in like the tech space, because in the tech space, it's a normal thing to job hop. That's a big like topic in the tech space. Even especially during the pandemic, there was even like this whole movement of overemployment of people being hired remotely by two companies. But those two companies just not knowing that this dude is working for two companies. It's one of those situations where it's fine until it's not fine. It's one of those situations where it's fine until it fucks up everything else for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Again, I do commend James Harden for the level of professionalism that he's still showing. But it's just an overarching thing that I'm seeing with James Harden, with Damian Lillard this past offseason, with Anthony Davis a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, even Kyrie in 2017 after the 2017 finals. Like at some point, these actions are going to have bad repercussions. You know what I'm saying? Because business is a two-way street. When I got traded here, my whole thing is I wanted to retire as a Sixer. Wanted to be here and retire as a Sixer, in the front office didn't have that in their future plans. I'm going to be honest. And this is what I'm talking about with accountability. Maybe that would have been part of their future plans if James Harden showed up. If James showed up last year and they made it to the conference finals, would he have gotten his money? If James performed better than 18, 6, and 7 on 40, 36, 94 splits, would he have gotten his money? I feel like sometimes you have to ask, why did they not give you the money? Maybe it's because when we got James Harden, and let's keep it a stack, let's keep it a bean, let's keep it a buck, people were looking at James Harden and Joel Embiid as the most unstoppable duo in the league. Kind of like how they're looking at Dame and Giannis right now. But in these 2 years that you've been together, these 2 years where James Harden and Joel Embiid, we are paying you a shit ton of money. We have committed a shit ton of assets to you to take us to the promised land. You haven't made it to the conference finals. And I swear to God, it gets worse every time I say it. They have not made it to a conference finals. Chat, that's so fucking crazy. Chat, that's so crazy. And again, as much shit as I give Joel Embiid, listen, that accountability pie is not just Joel Embiid. Don't get it twisted. Doc Rivers is in there as well. PJ Tucker is in there as well. Joel Embiid is in there as well. Tyrese Maxey to a certain extent. And James Harden is also in there as well. So for James Harden to just play this, man, I trusted you, Daryl. I trusted you, Daryl. You told me you was going to pay me, Daryl. Yeah, if you performed. But did you? When you was up 3-2 on the Celtics, with Jason Tatum having a choker of choker games, this is what you was doing. right? 4 of 16, 0 of 6 from 3, 13 points, 5 turnovers, 3 fouls, minus 10. 0 of 4 in the fourth quarter. You didn't show up. You didn't show up. Whole second half, 1 of 6. Whole second half, 1 of 6, bro. This was you in game 6 on a closeout game at home. Game 7 comes around, 9 points, 5 turnovers, 3 of 11 from the field. What the fuck is going on?